So let's go ahead and read our questions. Okay, there's only 3 of them, so not many questions. Question number 1. Why were the American colonists angry about the tax laws passed by Great Britain? Use evidence from the text to support your answer. Okay, so there's 2 parts to that question. Part number 1. Why were the colonists angry about the tax laws? We have to answer that. Part number 2 says to use evidence from the text. When it says to use evidence from the text, that means I have to tell them in my answer, I know this because the story said this, or because the story says that, or because I read this in the story. So you have to tell them your proof. What part of the story proves that answer to? Question number 2. What does prominent mean as it is used in the text? That question is just asking us, what does this word mean? What does prominent mean? Question 3 says the author wrote, these men believed Jefferson should do the writing. What reasons and details from the text support this statement? Yes, Jadine. Yep. Yep, we're going to read the questions first. That way we already know what to look out for in the story. We're going to read the story together, and then you're going to go back and answer the questions. So the author wrote, these men believed Jefferson should do the writing. What reasons and details from the text support this statement? That means, what part of the story, what do they tell us in the writing that shows or that proves that Jefferson was the one who should write it? They want to know, why did they think that Jefferson should be the one to write it? So those are our 3 questions. Okay? Remember what they're asking us, because as we're reading, you want to be looking out for any information that's going to help us answer those questions. I'm going to read the story here on the right side. I'll zoom in on my screen, that way it's a little bit easier to see. And then after we finish reading, we're going to go back and answer those questions. Is this a test? No. So the title of this piece of text is the Declaration of Independence. When the Declaration of Independence was approved in 1776, the American colonies and Great Britain had been fighting for more than a year. Great Britain passed several new tax laws to raise money for its government. These laws were very unpopular in the colonies. I like that word. It's got a prefix in it. What does unpopular mean? What does it mean if you say that something is unpopular? Alexa? Means not popular. What does it mean for something to be popular? Kylie? What does that mean? Popular. Okay, so unpopular, like Alexa said, means not popular. So unpopular means that a lot of people don't like it or they don't want it. So these laws, in this case, unpopular. Famous is kind of close to popular, but it's not exactly the same thing. Famous means everybody knows about it. Popular means, like Kylie said, that everybody likes it or they want it. You could say something like pizza is pretty popular because a lot of people like pizza and they want pizza. Unpopular would be the opposite, means a lot of people don't want it. Or tacos. Tacos are very popular. Americans had no one to represent them in the British legislature. So when it says to represent them, that means that they had nobody there that was kind of telling their side of the story. I don't know if you like if especially for those of you who have brothers or sisters, if let's say especially little brothers or sisters or big brothers or sisters, if you guys get like in an argument or a fight, and sometimes brother or sister will go to mom or dad and they'll tell them so and so hit me, that they hit me, and then mom or dad gets mad at you, why are you hitting your brother or why are you hitting your sister? But they don't tell mom or dad because they were there poking you in your room when you were trying to go to sleep, or that they went up to you first and they tripped you. So they only told one side of the story. They only told their side of the story. So here it tells us that Americans had nobody that was telling their side of the story to the British government. No taxation without representation soon became the cry throughout the 13 colonies. So they said they wanted people to be there to tell their side of the story when they make new laws. Not everyone in the colonies wanted to see an independent America. Yep, that's a good example, Messiah. So especially, like I said, I don't know why, but it seems like it works better with younger sisters or younger brothers. That, if they're doing something to mess with you, and you get angry and you yell at them, or like if you smack them or something like that, that they'll go and they'll tell mom or dad, oh, that they pushed me or that they hit me or something like that, and they won't tell mom or dad, oh, but I was also bugging them for a long time, or oh, they were trying to go to sleep and I threw water on them, or they were walking down the hallway and I tripped them. They don't want to say all of the story. They just want to say one side. And that's what was happening here. That only the people in Great Britain, only the people that lived in England got to tell their side. And the Americans weren't getting to say their side of the story about these laws. Not everyone in the colonies wanted to see an independent America. These people wanted to remain loyal to Great Britain. So they thought, well, we have some problems, but we don't want to. We want to still be part of Great Britain. We want to still be part of England. They were called loyalists. Patriots, on the other hand, wanted independence. They pushed hard for Congress to officially announce a separation from Great Britain. Separated just means that they didn't want to be part of Great Britain anymore. They wanted to be a separate country, a different country. On June 11th, 1776, Congress gave 5 men the task of drafting just such an announcement. We talked about that with writing. A draft. A draft means it's the first thing that you write. It might not be perfect yet. You might have to go back and change it a little bit, but it's the first thing that you write. A rough draft. John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, and Robert Livingston were chosen to do the job. These men believed Jefferson should do the writing. Jefferson, however, thought John Adams was better suited to the task. So they gave 5 people, a group of 5 people, the job. Okay, you guys go and write this letter, this document that's going to say that we don't want to be part of Great Britain anymore, that we want to be our own country. And when those 5 people got together, they said, okay, Thomas Jefferson, it's your job. You're going to write. But Thomas Jefferson said, I think John Adams should write it. However, Adams had made enemies in Congress because of his abrupt manner. More people liked Jefferson, who preferred to hear the ideas of others. So they said that John Adams, not everyone liked him because he didn't always listen to other people. that they had a hard time changing his mind, but that Thomas Jefferson, a lot of people liked him because he would listen to other people's ideas before he before he would talk with them. He tried to understand everybody. Their approval of Jefferson might persuade Congress to vote in favor, means vote yes, for the Declaration. Jefferson agreed to do the writing, and a draft was given to Congress on June 28th, 1776. So that was the day that they finished their writing, and they turned it into Congress, and they said, well, what do you all think? More discussion followed until, finally, Congress voted to adopt the Declaration of Independence on July 2nd, 1776. So they gave it to Congress. Congress talked about it. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's not? And finally they said, you know what? Yes, we agree. We like what this says. We all think it's a good idea. They said yes on July 2nd. However, the official declaration was not published until 2 days later on July 4th, 1776, a day that is now a national holiday in America. It is known as Independence Day. So it took them 2 days to make everything ready and to officially show it to everybody and say, here, we finished. This is what we wrote. That's why we don't celebrate Independence Day on July 2nd. That's why we celebrate it on July 4th. The Declaration itself is written on a single piece of parchment paper. It has 5 parts: an introduction, preamble, a list detailing the British King's violation of American rights, a condemnation of the British people, and a conclusion. So we talked about some of these words yesterday. Parchment is like an old kind of paper. You're right, Messiah. It was a long time ago. The parchment paper was that old kind of paper that they used to make like out of animal skin. That way it wasn't so soft or easy to rip or tear. The preamble is like an introduction where you kind of, in this case, they tell people what this writing is going to be about. And condemnation is when you say that something is wrong. You say that's not right. You shouldn't be doing that. Well, hang on, Alexa. We need to finish reading this first. The Declaration expressed a new idea that people had inalienable rights. Such rights exist for all people, cannot be taken away by laws or leaders. We talked about that word yesterday as well. Inalienable. That means nobody can take it away from you. Everybody has these rights. You can't give them away. They can't be taken away. They are for everybody. 56 men signed the Declaration of Independence. That's a lot of people to sign one piece of paper. Some prominent individuals whose names appear on the Declaration include John Adams, as well as Benjamin Franklin, the oldest man to sign it, John Hancock, and the author, Thomas Jefferson. Today, visitors to the National Archives in Washington, D.C. Hold on, Chase. In Washington, D.C. can see the Declaration. You can still go see it today if you go to that place, the National Archives, Washington, D.C. It is on display along with the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights in the rotunda for the Charters of Freedom. Remember, rotunda was another word we talked about. It just meant that the room was round, shaped like a circle, and that the roof was dome, which also shaped like a circle. Okay. So we have those 3 answers, 3 questions to answer. Go ahead, start answering the questions. Make sure again, for question 1, it's a 2-part question. Number one, why were they angry about the laws? And number two, what is your proof from the story? Don't forget that second part. All you have to do is click in those blue boxes, type out your answers. When you finish answering all three of your questions, you can turn in your work.